Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into a topic that I know so many of us wrestle with: overthinking. You've sent us a fantastic collection of materials, articles, insightful research, even some personal observations, all shining a light on why our minds sometimes get stuck in these relentless loops and, well, most importantly, how we can actually find our way out. Our mission today is to, uncover the fascinating science behind this mental habit, figure out its telltale signs, and then arm you with a practical toolkit of strategies. This isn't just about managing thoughts. It's about reclaiming your mental peace and truly enhancing your quality of life. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Okay, let's unpack this. We all think, of course, it's how we navigate the world. It's essential. But what's the crucial difference between that productive reflection and that overwhelming, endless loop we call overthinking?
Yeah, it's a key distinction. And what's truly striking in the material you shared is how consistently overthinking is defined as repetitive, unproductive contemplation. It's not the healthy deep dive you take when solving a problem, not at all. Instead, it's dwelling on negative thoughts, worrying excessively, and analyzing situations to the point of, complete paralysis sometimes.
Paralysis, that's a strong word.
It is, because unlike reflection, which ideally moves you towards solutions, overthinking often leaves you utterly stuck, like a car spinning its wheels in mud, just going nowhere.
Right, just spinning.
Exactly. It's a mental trap consuming immense time and energy, leading to profound mental exhaustion. And it's not just a minor annoyance. Chronic overthinking is closely linked to significant mental health challenges like depression and anxiety, severely diminishing one's quality of life.
Wow.
The numbers are quite telling, too. Some research indicates a staggering 73% of 25 to 35-year-olds admit to overthinking.
73%, that's huge.
Yeah, it is. And women seem to report it more frequently than men, according to that data. So it's clear this isn't an isolated issue. It's a really widespread habit many of us face.
Okay, wow, 73%. That really puts it in perspective. So, if so many of us are doing it, how do we know? How do we know when our healthy introspection has sort of veered into this unproductive territory? What are the red flags we should be looking for?
That's a great question. The articles you provided highlight several key indicators that you might recognize in your own life. One major sign is just an inability to relax because your thoughts are constantly racing, especially, when you try to sleep.
The nighttime racing thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. Which predictably leads to chronic sleep deprivation. Then there's often an intense, almost paralyzing desire to be perfect, coupled with an extreme worry about making mistakes.
The perfectionism trap.
Right. And instead of actually taking action, you might find yourself endlessly planning or replanning, which, ironically, truly harms productivity more than it helps.
So you get stuck before you even start.
Precisely. Overthinking can also erode trust in relationships, making genuine connection difficult. And it generally leaves you feeling mentally drained and fatigued. As one piece eloquently puts it, it truly robs us of joy and peace of mind, often stopping us from taking necessary action in our lives, leaving us in a state of perpetual what if.
That feeling of paralysis, the constant what if, I think many listeners, myself included, can certainly relate to that. But is there a scientific explanation for why our brains, which is supposed to help us, get caught in these endless loops? What's the biology behind this hijacking?
Absolutely. The science here is fascinating, actually. From an evolutionary standpoint, our brains are wired for problem solving. They actually encourage thinking things through as a survival mechanism. It's meant to be helpful.
Okay, so it starts from a good place.
It does. But this adaptive process can indeed go awry. The research you shared reveals that specific brain chemicals play a critical role in initiating and sustaining these cyclical thought loops, almost like a feedback system gone haywire. Think of it like this. Dopamine, our reward chemical, might give you that initial buzz or satisfaction for thinking you're actively solving a problem.
Okay.
Then, as you push to solve it, adrenaline is released, providing a surge of energy that keeps you engaged, keeps you thinking. Serotonin, our mood regulator, might even augment the loop as new possibilities, new angles seem to emerge.
So it feels productive for a bit.
It can, yeah. But here's the critical catch. If no actual solution is found, that system gets derailed. Serotonin gets blocked, and cortisol, the notorious stress hormone, floods your system.
Oh, cortisol, right.
And this chemical cocktail then locks you into unhealthy rumination and a full-blown stress response, keeping you trapped in the cycle. It's like your brain trying to be a helpful super solver, but ending up tying itself in knots.
So it's our brain's ancient problem-solving system getting hijacked by its own chemistry, creating this stress response. That makes sense. And the sources also talk about different types of overthinking, right? It's not all the same kind of loop.
Exactly. That's another important point. The material differentiates between two main types, both equally draining: rumination and worry. Rumination typically involves replaying past negative events, things like failures, losses, mistakes, keeping you stuck in depressing, backward-looking thought patterns. It's like endlessly rewatching a bad movie in your head.
Oh, yeah, been there.
And worry, on the other hand, is more future-oriented. It fixates on hypothetical what-if scenarios. What if this happens? What if that goes wrong? How current situations might affect your future.
The what ifs.
Right. Both, though, are forms of repetitive, distressing, negative thinking that can feel incredibly overwhelming. And this isn't just a feeling. Our brains actually have different modes.
Yeah.
There's something called the default mode network. You can think of it as your brain's autopilot. It activates when your attention isn't focused on a task, like when you're daydreaming or just letting your mind wander. And that's often where rumination and worry take over, leading to brooding and imagining past or future scenarios.
So that's when the overthinking kicks in easily.
Often, yes. But then there's the direct experience network. That's the part of your brain that keeps you grounded in the now, in the present moment. The goal, as we'll discuss, is really about learning to shift from that autopilot default mode network to the present moment awareness of the direct experience network.
Shifting gears in the brain, essentially. Okay. It sounds like a complex interplay of biology, these different brain networks, and our ingrained mental habits. It begs the question, where did these habits even come from? Are some people just, inherently more prone to this mental looping?
That's a great question. And yes, while it's fundamentally a learned habit, certain tendencies can definitely make one more prone. Often, overthinking can have an almost obsessive-compulsive component where stopping the thoughts feels utterly impossible, like an incessant inner voice you just can't quiet.
Well,
Perfectionists and overachievers, for example, they tend to overthink significantly. This is frequently rooted in a deep fear of failure and an intense desire for perfection. Every detail feels like it must be perfect to avoid some imagined catastrophic outcome.
My pressure.
Exactly. And this can sometimes trace back to childhood coping mechanisms, maybe catastrophizing small mistakes as a kid, or even using play to endlessly work out problems and anxieties, rather than just experiencing or accepting them.
Interesting. So it can start early?
It can. And it's important to stress, again, that while some forms of deep analytical thinking are incredibly productive, like, strategizing for a business solution or innovating a new product, the overthinking we're discussing here is non-productive. It's a form of internal lying to yourself, as one source put it, stirring up emotions and sending you down these, what the source vividly calls, deep rabbit holes to nowhere.
Rabbit holes to nowhere. That paints a picture.
It does, doesn't it? And it's also crucial to note that avoidance techniques, things like overeating or maybe excessive screen time to numb the anxiety, they're ultimately ineffective.
Right. Temporary fixes.
Exactly. They might offer a momentary distraction, but they don't address the underlying thought patterns.
No.
And often, they just create new problems entirely.
That makes so much sense, the distinction between productive deep thought and those non-productive rabbit holes. So, okay, what does this all mean for us? How can we start to turn down the volume on this inner chatter and, reclaim our peace of mind?
Well, the truly good news, as the material really emphasizes, is that overthinking is not an innate trait you're stuck with. It's a learned strategy, a habit.
A habit. Okay.
And habits can absolutely be unlearned and changed. Your sources offer several incredibly effective and practical strategies to help us break free. First, and this is foundational, recognizing and challenging your thoughts. This is all about building self-awareness, taking a step back, almost like an impartial observer, and just noticing how your overthinking affects your mood, your body, your actions.
Becoming aware of the pattern.
Precisely. Asking yourself, are these thoughts truly based on facts? Or are they just assumptions, anxieties, worst-case scenarios playing out in my mind? Then actively work to reframe those negative thoughts. For example, instead of an automatic thought like, I'll never be good at this, you can intentionally reframe it to, okay, I'm still learning and I'll improve with practice.
Changing the narrative.
Exactly. This process is often called metacognition. And don't let the fancy words scare you. It simply means thinking about your thinking. It's like becoming a detective of your own mind, observing your thoughts without getting swept away by them.
Thinking about thinking. I like that.
Yeah. And a related powerful technique is recognizing automatic negative thoughts, or ANTs, as one approach calls them.
ANTs, like the insects.
Kind of, yeah. These are those knee-jerk, often illogical negative thoughts that just pop into your head, usually driven by fear or anger. You can actually track them, maybe in a notebook. identify the emotions they trigger,
Yeah.
and then actively work to find alternative, more realistic thoughts. So if your ANT is, I'm definitely going to fail this presentation, you could consciously reframe it to, I've prepared well and I'll do my best. It's about challenging that automatic negativity.
That makes perfect sense. It's about interrupting that negative cycle, isn't it? And gaining some much-needed perspective on what our mind is telling us. What else can we do when our minds are spinning like that?
Second, embracing mindfulness and focused action is incredibly powerful. Mindfulness practices like meditation or even simple deep breathing exercises help you anchor yourself in the present moment.
Right, the here and now.
Exactly. Which naturally reduces the tendency to dwell on past regrets or future uncertainties. Even short sessions, seriously, just taking 3 slow, deep breaths, making sure your exhale is longer than your inhale, can help calm your nervous system immediately. The goal is to pause and extend the gap between your thoughts, as some sources put it, creating a space where you can choose your response instead of just reacting.
Creating space, I like that visual.
Yeah, and your sources highlight various mindfulness exercises from quick body scans to walking meditation, anything that helps you focus on sensory experiences right now. Beyond mindfulness, it's vital to consciously shift your attention to action.
Action.
If you're caught in endless planning or decision-making, set time limits for yourself. Say, I'll think about this for 10 minutes, then decide. And commit to moving forward. Identify what you can control in a situation and act on that. And consciously, actively let go of what you can't.
Easier said than done sometimes, but crucial.
Definitely. And sometimes simply doing something nice for someone else, engaging in enjoyable physical activities like walking or dancing or pursuing a hobby that can provide a healthy distraction and healthily shift your focus from unproductive thinking. As one source simply puts it, if you can't solve a problem, stop trying to. It's about redirecting that mental energy somewhere more useful or positive.
So, focusing on the present and redirecting our energy, that seems to be a powerful, consistent thread across these strategies. It's almost like you're not trying to stop the thoughts entirely, but change where your mental energy flows. Is that a fair way to put it?
That's a perfect way to put it. Yes, it's about changing your relationship with your thoughts, not necessarily eradicating them, which is often impossible anyway.
Right.
And third, practicing self-compassion and acceptance is absolutely key. This means being kind to yourself, recognizing that everyone makes mistakes, everyone faces uncertainties, and it's okay not to be perfect. Show yourself the same consideration and understanding you'd naturally show a good friend who is struggling.
Treat yourself like a friend.
Exactly.
Right.
Overthinking often leads to harsh self-criticism, right? The inner critic can be brutal. Self-compassion directly counters that internal bully.
Yeah.
You can actively use affirmations, maybe gently reminding yourself, may I accept myself as I am, or I am enough. Simple phrases, but powerful. This includes accepting imperfection, accepting uncertainty, and truly accepting what's simply uncontrollable in life. It's about letting go of that need for absolute control. Furthermore, consciously recognizing and acknowledging your successes, even the small, seemingly insignificant ones you might typically overlook, that can powerfully counteract those ingrained negative thought spirals.
Celebrating small wins.
Yes, it builds up your internal sense of worth and capability, little by little.
Those are all incredibly practical strategies that, we can start implementing today. But what if these self-help methods aren't quite cutting it? What if the overthinking feels too overwhelming, too ingrained to manage on our own?
That's a crucial point, and the sources are really clear on this. If overthinking significantly impacts your daily life, your relationships, your work, your mental health, seeking professional help is a vital and highly recommended step.
Don't be afraid to reach out.
Absolutely not. A therapist or counselor can provide personalized strategies and support tailored specifically to your unique situation. Therapy can help you uncover the deeper, often hidden root causes of your overthinking, build emotional resilience, learn to trust yourself and others more fully, and provide a safe, non-judgmental space just to process your thoughts and emotions.
That safe space sounds important.
It really is. And one therapeutic approach specifically mentioned in your material is metacognitive therapy, or MCT. This approach is really interesting because it doesn't focus on analyzing your negative thoughts further, digging into the content. Instead, it focuses on helping you spend less time engaging with them in the first place.
Less engagement, okay.
Yeah, it teaches you to simply observe your thoughts and let them pass, almost like clouds drifting by in the sky without getting caught up in them. This method has shown particularly promising results in reducing overthinking, anxiety, and depression by fundamentally changing how you interact with your inner chatter.
What a deep dive into the labyrinth of overthinking and the incredibly clear pathways out. We've explored its definitions, the intricate science behind why our brains get caught in these loops, and a powerful array of strategies, from recognizing and challenging thought patterns to embracing mindfulness, taking decisive action, and practicing profound self-compassion.
And what's consistently fascinating, I think, across all the material you provided, is this central, empowering message. While those trigger thoughts might arrive automatically, you don't choose if they appear in your head.
Right, they just pop up.
Exactly. But you do have a profound choice in whether and how long you engage with them. It's a powerful distinction. You can compare these thoughts to, say, trains at a busy railway station arriving on your mental platform, or maybe a phone ringing. You can absolutely choose which thoughts to board or which calls to answer and which to simply observe and let pass by without getting drawn into their drama.
Choosing which train to get on. I like that metaphor.
Yeah. And this understanding, this realization that you have agency, that you have a choice, that is truly the first and most critical step towards cultivating a healthier mindset and significantly improving your overall well-being.
So as you reflect on this deep dive, maybe consider this provocative thought. If overthinking is fundamentally a learned habit, a pathway your mind has simply gotten used to traveling down, what small intentional step will you take today to choose not to engage with a thought that doesn't serve you, to choose a different path, thus reclaiming just a little piece of your peace and taking a step off that mental hamster wheel? We really hope this deep dive provides you with valuable insights and truly empowers you on your journey to a more balanced and fulfilling life.